Kevin Rudd has hit a major snag with his plan to take health funding control from the states. In his strongest show of defiance yet, the Victorian Premier John Brumby has come up with his own plan, and he wants the Prime Minister and other leaders to embrace it. The federal government is furious. It says the Brumby scheme would hit taxpayers with an extra $38 billion in the next 4 years alone. Chief Political Correspondent Mark Simpkin.
While Tony Abbott's spending energy, Kevin Rudd spending money.
Make sure you use the money well.
The Prime Minister visited his fourth marginal seat in 3 days. At each stop, he's announced funding for a local hospital, hoping to buy support for a federal health takeover.
How long have you been having the migraines?
Many years.
But the Prime Minister's got a headache of his own. Despite multiple meetings and weeks of negotiations, a state Labor government appears willing to torpedo his proposal.
We can't agree to a number of the proposals that are contained in the Commonwealth's reform plan.
Health is complex enough without putting in place convoluted, incoherent and, quite frankly, impractical policies.
The Victorian Premier unveiled a plan of his own. Under the fundamentally different Brumby prescription, the states would retain complete control of their hospitals and the Commonwealth would no longer claw back some of the GST, instead handing the states billions of extra dollars.
I think you're going to find a number of states have great difficulty in agreeing to hand over one of their taxes to the Commonwealth, who just recycles it back with their label on it.
I can understand why Premier Brumby is very anxious about any reform plan which might compromise the effective delivery of health and hospital services in Victoria.
A federal Treasury analysis calculates the Brumby proposal could be a budget buster, costing taxpayers an extra $38 billion over 4 years and $150 billion over the decade.
I would just urge John to work with the Australian government, because state governments cannot afford to fund this system for the future.
Earlier in the week, senior federal ministers were quietly confident promises of extra money would win the premiers over. The government will announce additional cash injections next week, but COAG's just 11 days away. And Mr Brumby's ensured any major compromise will now look like a back down. Mark Simpkin, ABC News, Canberra.